monsieur, ça va? Ça va très bien?
Ça va très bien, ça va très bien. Ouais. Ah oui.
Not you.
Right? Not much.
Well, I said it was too much.
603.
The Pasadena Area Community College District Board of Trustees meeting of Wednesday, September 20th, 2017 will come to order. Roll call, please. Here.
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 Is there any public comment on closed session items? We have a need for a closed session. Government Code 54957, Public Employee Appointment, Interim Dean, and Instructional Support. 2, Government Code Section 54957.0 57.6, conference with labor negotiators, agency designated representative, Dr. Lisa Norman, Human Resources, Employee Organization, CSEA number 777, California School Employees Association, Chapter 777. Government Code, Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiators, agency designated representative, Dr. Lisa Norman, Human Resources, Employee Organization, PCC, CFT, PCC, California Federation of Teachers, Local 6525. 4, Government Code, Section 54957.6, conference with unrepresented employees, agency designated representative, Dr. Lisa Norman, Human Resources, excuse me, Employee Organization, confidentials. 5, Government Code, Section 54957.6, conference with unrepresented employees, agency designated representative, Dr. Lisa Norman, Human Resources, Employee Organization, Management Association. 6, Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with unrepresentative employees, Dr. Robert Bell, Assistant Superintendent, Senior Vice President, non-credit and off-site campuses, Dr. Richard Storti, Assistant Superintendent, Vice President, Business and Administrative Services, Dr. Terrence
Judy.
Junie. When I see it, I don't get it right. Assistant Superintendent, Vice President, Instruction, Dr. Cynthia Olivo, Vice President, Student Services, Dr. Lisa Norman, Vice President, Human Resources, Ms. Bobby Abram, Executive Director, Foundation, PCC Foundation, Mr. Alex Buckelhide, Executive Director, Strategic Communications and Marketing, Ms. Crystal Colross, Executive Director, Institutional Effectiveness, Mr. Joseph Semenici, Executive Director, Business Services, Mrs. Chavita Weingart, Executive Director, Fiscal Services, Mr. Matthew Kaim, Interim Executive Director, Information Technology. 7, Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with unrepresented employee, Rajin Verdian, PhD, Superintendent President. We will now adjourn to closed session. Community College District regular business meeting, September 20th, 2017, will come to order. The board has met in closed session and has no reportable action. Roll call, please. Here. 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 Here.
Here.
Trustee Brown, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item C3, approval reordering of agenda items. Are there any agenda items that trustees would like reordered?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's 7-0 with the student trustee voting yes. Introductions and recognitions. We are pleased to be holding this Board of Trustees meeting here in this part of our district and taking advantage of the facilities here of the Arcadia Unified School District. And I'd like to introduce a couple of distinguished people who are present. The president of the Arcadia Board of Education, Mr. Fenton Eng. Pleased to have you here. Kay Kinsler, member of the school board. Thank you for being here. And Dr. Catherine Merrill, Director of Curriculum. We're going to be hearing more from you? Yes, excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Public comment on non-agenda items. Are there any speaker cards, Trustee Osterling?
Yes, we have three speaker cards. And our first speaker tonight will be Dr. Paul Jahi Price. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
You did.
Thank you.
So good evening, board. How are you? Good evening, PCC family. I hope all is well. So I'm here today, or this evening as it were, to address Reuben Smith's good work on campus. As you know, Reuben always carried himself in a professional demeanor. He maintained positive relationships with faculty, staff, and fellow administrators. His start and completion of projects was absolutely admirable. I can remember several projects he started in the social sciences, and we were all pleased with the conclusion of his projects. I should also say the campus, as it were, was shocked upon learning of his dismissal. The rumors that surfaced as a result of his dismissals was unfortunate. The overall morale, as it were, and disappointment among the PCC community, and in particular the African American community, should be noted. I would contend, as it were, that the dismissal of Reuben Smith was an absolute mistake. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Price.
Our next speaker is Dr. Christopher West.
Good evening. Attention in the room is because I am Dr. Christopher West, which means anything could come out of my mouth. This could go a bunch of different ways, but it's simply going to go truthfully. Here's how these things normally occur. New administration comes in. They don't like the employee, whatever the reasons are. And the way that you handle it is that you talk to the guy and you say, look, we'll give you 9 months. I'll write you a great letter of recommendation, and we'll send you on your way. This is the way these things occur. And you always know as the employee why it happened. It's clear. And these things happen. Sometimes you agree, sometimes you disagree, there's a separation. And everybody walks away with dignity. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. You put yourself into a situation with an employee who was respectful, extraordinarily strong, giving and gifted. Just yesterday, I was in an African American mixer, and a young African American male came up to me who was going to be involved in SBE. That's the National Society of Black Engineers. And just as I was about to tell him, I got to walk you over, that's right, I can't walk you over to Reuben Smith because you've released him. And so as a result, last night I was up to 1:15 a.m. doing emails and letters of recommendation, all the rest of that stuff. But the person I could have counted on, I've been counting on the time that he's been here, is no longer here. And that makes my job more difficult. And as an African American tenured faculty here, it makes me wonder, after 9 years of work at this institution, 16-hour days with no apology, maybe this isn't my institution. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Dr. West.
Our next speaker is Gerard Sliker. Again, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
You did, thank you. And if I may, I'm going to be reading from a lot of my notes in that, so bear with me in that. Good evening, board members, or Board of Trustee members, and Dr. Vernon. And in the spirit of transparency, I'd like to bring a situation that I'm involved in with currently to the board's attention. My name is Gerard Sliker, and I'm trying to resolve a situation with a 100% increase, 100% plus increase of my wife's COBRA. I had been paying $877 a month and was informed by the benefits department that it was going up to $1,856 monthly for 2018, starting October 1st, which is in a few days from now, a 100% increase. I retired from PCC on July 5th and made a financial decision to purchase COBRA through PCC for coverage for my wife until June of 2018. She's not currently employed or collecting retirement benefits. I based my decision on the PCC benefit plan of single coverage, not a two-party or family coverage. I was aware that the cost was subject to change. I was aware of that, and that if the district cost to maintain this was changed, that I would have to cover that. What I was not prepared to pay was a higher cost that the district was charging to when they switched over to composite coverage. And which begs the question, I'm wondering now when exactly did, being that I started this coverage back in July, or actually in June, when was the district aware that they were going to be making this change into composite coverage and that these prices were going to be exorbitant? I've discussed these exorbitant rate increases with medical insurance agents, the Department of Labor, Covered Care California, and the EBSA, Employee Benefits Security Administration, and all are astounded at the 100% plus increase. I reached out to PCC Human Resources, and Dr. Norman's email did respond, and basically her response was that the rates are not negotiable and cannot be adjusted. It was my hope to resolve this issue at the HR level, but I see that that's not going to be possible. So I'm surprised at the lack of support for retired personnel, and I hope the district can provide a fair and equitable solution to this situation that I'm in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sliker.
Are there any further comments for items not on the agenda? Trustee Osterling?
No further speakers.
Thank you. Approval of minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Student trustee? Thank you. Passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor. Presentations. Dr. Verdian, do we have presentations?
We will have two presentations tonight, and both will be relating to the relationship between the Pasadena Area Community College District and the Arcadia Unified School District. The first presentation will be from Dr. Merle, who is the Director of Curriculum and Assessment and Instruction in the district.
Good evening, and welcome to Arcadia Unified School District. We're thrilled to have you tonight, and my name is Catherine Morel. I'm the Director for Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment, and it is with great pleasure tonight that I will just highlight very briefly some of our partnership between Pasadena City College and Arcadia Unified School District. Our goal at Arcadia High School is to prepare all of our students for college and beyond. And as you know, we have a great reputation and a tradition of excellence, and we prepare our students very well for the next level. We are often highlighted in newspapers about the very top students that we are proud to come out of our schools. However, we also have a large population of our students that go directly to Pasadena City College, and they're very successful as well. The presence of PCC at Arcadia High School is felt through your representative, who comes and works with our students twice a month. His name is Alan De La Vera. And the numbers that you have highlighted on your screen are not uncommon for our senior classes. Every year, about 25% of our students choose to go to Pasadena City College, and Alan is there every step of the way to work with them. He works with them on their application, their assessment, and last year, we give all of our seniors a survey before they leave us, and 218 reported that they would be part of your freshman class. In terms of the programs that we offer in collaboration with Pasadena City College, we have articulation agreements in 4 different pathways. In the future, we would like to add more pathways, if that's possible, with 2 particular classes that are very popular at Arcadia High School, and that's sports medicine and photography. Our staff collaborates with your staff on a regular basis through those collaboration days that are made possible, and they always come back invigorated and inspired by your faculty, and also by the success that our students encounter at Pasadena City College. Finally, I just wanted to highlight this success. It's maybe a little hard for the audience to see, but on this chart, which represents the class of 2014, it shows that 68% of those students who chose to go to PCC from Arcadia High School actually obtained their associate degrees in 2 years. And if you look at the national rate across the board, there's nothing like this. So it's a tremendous success for actually 68% of our students to be so successful in 2 short years. So it is definitely the best choice for many of our students, of those 25% who choose to go to PCC. And the student that I chose to highlight is, you may be familiar with him, of course, because Ryan Liu was a student who graduated out of the class of 2013, was your valedictorian in 2015, and is currently studying at Yale. He wrote an article last semester, I want to say, and this was very inspirational, and we use his quotes all the time with our students, because it is not, I'll go to PCC because I can't go anywhere else. It's, I choose to go to PCC because it'll give me the skills to be successful in the next phase of my educational career. So again, we want to thank you for collaborating and supporting our students on a regular basis, almost on a daily basis, and we're thrilled to know that our students are so successful at your institution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Merrill? No, Dr. Merrill, would you entertain any questions from our trustees? Trustee Wah.
Thank you for an excellent presentation, and it's so great to see such wonderful numbers of success for your students, and that Arcadia is now our strongest feeder into our district. So, and you've always had such a great reputation. And Ryan is one of my very favorite, and he's been mentoring our second student who was our former student trustee of last year, who is now at Yale. So thank you
Wonderful.
for producing such great students. So my question is the looking at the pathways of interest for your students, how does that articulate to the CTE pathways, or not the CTE pathways, but more the industry sectors that we have identified for jobs in our area? Does that, is there an
So
articulation
through
yet?
those agreements, I believe that our students are able to jump into more advanced classes once they've been successful at our site on completing some of those classes, and that's why we have those agreements. Now, beyond that, I'm not sure. You probably know more about them than we do after that. But we know that our students that enter in your classes through those agreements are very successful. They do the basic classes at our school, and sometimes even the advanced, and they're able to be very successful at PCC in some more advanced classes. Our video production is a good example of that.
We have that, and Dr. Juni will be sharing a little bit of that partnership that we have in the CTE pathways in his presentation. But I must say that the Arcadia School District is one of the topmost school districts in the nation, and we are blessed in the Pasadena Area Community College District to be able to work with students of the caliber that come to Arcadia School District. And Dr. Juni will be elaborating a little bit more in his presentation on that relationship, the CTE pathways also, and what else we can be doing together.
Absolutely.
Dr. Olivo will be here also to provide some additional information.
And then I have one other question.
Yes.
How much interest in Arcadia is there in the dual enrollment? So I didn't see a dual enrollment number there.
So this is not a big emphasis for us because our community is so driven. Our parents are so supportive. A lot of our students take a lot of advanced courses at Arcadia High School. So we haven't felt that this was something that we should emphasize at this point. We're able to offer about 20 to 25 honors and AP courses, and our students are very successful at it. And so they don't really see the benefit of dual enrollment. I think for some schools who don't have the offerings that we do, it may be attractive. For some of our students, it just isn't, because we're such a large school. We have about 3,600 students who are able to offer a great variety of courses, and among them, very advanced courses, particularly in math and science.
Trustee Hilsman. Oh,
Well, thank you for being here today. I really
Very
appreciate that. I'm very honored to represent the city of Arcadia and Arcadia High School. And when we talk, and we were talking about achievements, and we have a high school like Arcadia produce 3 perfect SATs. No one in the
Correct.
nation gets 1 SAT perfect usually. I was very proud of that. But I would like to, this coming year, talk to you and the school board, because I really would like us to, since Arcadia is the biggest, brings the largest students to PCC, I'd like us to think about a satellite campus in Arcadia, and we'll be talking about that as I get more interested in that by the first of the year. So we'll be
Fantastic.
talking. But,
Very good.
you guys are doing an outstanding job.
Well, you know, our innovation is something really important for our board and our school districts, so we're always looking for ways to do things better with the support of our board and, you know, in an innovative way. So we're certainly open to any plans you may have for our students.
Trustee Hilsman.
Yes, well, thank you very much for your presentation. I represent a district that's primarily in Pasadena, but some of it is also in Arcadia. Probably not as large as Tony's constituency, but I do represent some folks in Arcadia. And this may be something that's sort of off the topic, but What I found in my campaign 2 years ago was that a lot of the Arcadia residents particularly, and some in Rosemead as well, didn't understand that they were in the PCC electoral districts. And they said, well, we don't really, we get to vote on that. And I think that community participation is really important as a district and in the electoral process, not just for the students, but also for electing representatives to PCC. So I wonder if there's anything in the school district that you can do to inform the citizenry, I suppose, about the PCC district, how it functions, how we operate, sort of that kind of thing.
Sure. I'm sure this is something that we can improve upon and give some more information. As you know, we have a very supportive community. And every chance I get, I talk about the wonderful opportunities that Pasadena City College offer, but certainly some of our community members are not aware of how things work, so to speak. And so we're constantly educating them, and so we'll be happy to do that further.
Yes. Trustee Wah.
Do you also track how many of your students actually get into their four-year?
Yes.
So at their first choice, second choice, do you track that? And what percentage is that? Did I miss?
So in terms of completion or in terms of where they apply?
Both where they apply, and then do you track beyond that too?
So we have a program that we use that's called Naviance. And so we've only used it for a few years, and that's where this chart that I was able to pull for you shows us the completion. 2-year completion, 4-year completion, how long it takes students to graduate. So as we've only been using this for about 3 years, but as we move forward, we'll be able to have a lot of information on that. We know that our students don't just get into the best schools in the nation, but that they actually graduate from the best schools in the nation. And it's reflected in the completion rate for Pasadena City College. Those students do finish, remarkably fast. So we do have that data. If you're interested, I'd be able to share.
So the chart that I saw, that's the completion for Pasadena, or is that completion for all students
Just
going?
PCC.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes.
But then you also track then beyond.
Correct. So I was
PCC, right?
able to pull just PCC so that you would have that information, but we have it for every college. So for every university or every school that our students attend, we have that information. So I was able to pull that from the class of 2014 because we don't have it yet for the class of 2015. We'll probably have it later on in November, but I'm pretty sure that this is very consistent, even in terms of the number of students that we send you. It's very consistent. It's about 25% of our class.
So then, sorry, I'm a little slow. So in tracking then the students who are applying for first choice, second choice, third choice of their colleges, do you also track that?
No, we do not track that. Okay. They tell us where they applied, and then we find out where they're going and how fast they finish their work, their 4-year path. But we don't track. They tell us where they applied and where they were accepted, but that's more informal. It's not through that program. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, Jim Mastro.
So you had a graph that showed, I think it was 68%
Yes.
of the students that go to PCC finish on time. Sometimes students attend PCC for a year and then transfer, and some other students, it might have taken them 2.5 years. You know what percentage go to PCC, whether it's 2 years or not, and then continue on to a 4-year?
No, we
Okay.
don't know that because we don't track them by name. So I don't know where they go after that.
I was just speculating that might even be a higher figure than the one on your
I
chart.
would think so, because if we know that if they were successful at PCC, they have the skills and they're equipped then to move on. And because they were so successful, I would confirm that it builds, as Ryan pointed out in his article, that it really builds their confidence. And, because Arcadia High School is such a good, such a big school, sometimes they feel like they're not that special. And, once they go to the next step and they're successful, then now they know, they're confident that they are special because they're ready.
I noticed that on that pie chart with the
Yes.
success, 68% get an associate degree in 2 years.
And 32.
32% get an associate degree after 3 years. And I thought, oh, wait a minute, that's 100%.
Yes.
That's,
I don't know if
that's
it was a
pretty
good year, but.
That's motivation. That's motivation.
That's right.
And you said that, did you say that Arcadia High School has 3,600?
About
Okay, and
3,600
it's four-year,
students.
four-year high school. Right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So we will, Dr. Juni will present from Pasadena City College.
Okay, Fenton, I think I have technology envy here. We might have to come over here and steal it.
Dr. Selvage, members of the board, Dr. Verdian, and normally I would say and special guests, but really special hosts, those of you that are here from the Arcadia Unified School District. I just wanted to make a personal note. My wife actually is a graduate of Arcadia High School, so I know that they produce good students. So I have a few slides here to talk a little bit about a little bit of some of what was already presented, but a little bit more that gives some information about how well Arcadia students, and I have a little bit of data on obviously Arcadia High School, but also other residents of Arcadia that come to PCC and how they're served by the college through the partnership that we have with Arcadia Unified.
I just want to mention, if we don't have the presentation on these screens, you can click on the attachment in the agenda item on your
Thank you.
tablets,
Yeah.
and the presentation will come up.
Now you can fill that.
It's coming up now. Okay.
Little technical difficulty. Okay. So first off, I have a little bit of kind of quick facts about the city of Arcadia on the left, and then also Arcadia High School. I'm not going to read all this to you, but I want to highlight a few things about it. And actually on the city of Arcadia quick facts, the 52% that have a bachelor's degree or higher, that is high compared to the U.S. population as a whole. The U.S. population as a whole, 33% in 2015 had a bachelor's degree and higher. And so right there it tells you that the city of Arcadia is special. Then if you look at Arcadia High School facts, the number that I want to, well, there's actually two numbers there to focus on. Number one, their graduation rate at 99%. That also is not typical of all public high schools in the state of California or the nation. And so that says a lot about the quality of education that's offered at Arcadia High School and the dedication of their students. The bullet underneath that is even more impressive. 79% of their students meet or exceed the state standards in basically language and arts, compared to the state average of 44% and 71% in math compared to the state average of 33%. So that tells you that it is actually a great honor for PCC to accept the students from Arcadia because they are high-achieving students, as indicated by the numbers from their high school. This then is looking at, on the left, the Arcadia PCC students. So these are all residents of Arcadia that have come to our PCC in the last 3 years. And then on the right, it's Arcadia High School. So you'll see the difference between 2847 residents over the last 3 years versus 2256 over the last 3 years. And so those additional students are from basically the Arcadia residents that are graduating from private high schools. And that actually, Arcadia has a high number of students that actually go to privates as well. So this is taking all 4 of those populations and looking at the ethnic demographics of those. I apologize that the bar chart and the table on the right, the colors are reversed. And so the green on the bottom is actually the top of the bar chart. So the way the bar chart is set up is it has the largest number, which are Asians, on the bottom. And you'll see that the demographics between the high school, which is on the left, the residents, the high school student. The first bar on the left is the high school students at PCC. The next bar are Arcadia residents that are at PC. The third bar in are Arcadia high school students, and the last bar are Arcadia residents. And you can see that they're very similar really in the demographics. There's a little bit of differences, but basically we are serving the residency of Arcadia at PCC in fairly equal numbers, whether you're looking at what comes to us and what goes to the high school and actually the residents of the community. Okay, and so some of this data was presented. This is information about the outreach activities that we have to Arcadia High School. Basically the way the table is showing is it's giving you numbers starting in 2016, so application day, our counselor's lunch and learn, the Outreach Career Center visits, the Outreach Ambassador visits, and so those are basically the number of times we've come here and the number of students that were served during those activities. And then at the bottom, not the very last part, the assessment, but the one just above that, the total number of contacts. So basically, during the 16, early part of 17 year, we were here 15 times, and we touched 817 students. And I will reemphasize a point that was made that a high percentage of students at Arcadia High School participate in these activities, and that is wonderful. That's wonderful for us, obviously, because many of them choose to come to PCC. It's also wonderful for their students because so many of them are choosing to go into higher education, and clearly they're successful whether they come to us or they go somewhere else or they go through us to go somewhere else. So this slide is emphasizing a couple of our programs that we have to serve our students and showing that Arcadia High School graduates take advantage of these. And so the table on the left is looking at the Pathways program, and the numbers in there are the number of Arcadia High School graduates that have taken advantage of the PCC Pathways program. And so you can see that number goes up every year, and now as we have expanded our Pathways program into a second year, and now also a third year, you can see that Arcadia High School students are taking advantage of that. The bullets on the right are talking about the Promise program, the PCC Promise. So fall is the very beginning of that. There are a total of 148 Promise students. 31 of those are graduates of Arcadia High School, 21% of the total number. That is the largest number of students from a single high school that are taking advantage of the Promise program. So there's a total of 20 high schools that are represented in those numbers. 31 or 21% come from Arcadia High School. The last bullet is showing you that those students are taking somewhere between 10 and 19 units. To be enrolled in the Promise program, you have to do at least 9. And so they have some that are just a little above that minimum, but they also have some high achievers. The average of those 31 students is 15.4 units, and so that they do not waste their time once they come to PCC and enroll. Obviously, based on the numbers that were presented, that's also why they complete faster than our average. A lot of data on this slide. So the upper left is English and math placement. And so what it's showing is this is basically a 3-year average, and it's showing that students of Arcadia High School, when they take our assessment tests, this is how they place. And what's important to note is how that compares to all incoming freshmen. And so you'll see that a majority of their students in English, greater than 50%, are placing at transfer level. That's compared to 40% of all incoming freshmen. And then likewise in math, 41.5% place into transfer level compared to 24% of all incoming freshmen. And so again, it attests to how prepared graduates of Arcadia High School are as they move on to higher education. The two bullets below that are showing their course success and retention rates, and I don't have what everyone else shows, but I can assure you that these numbers are higher than the PC population as a whole. I list the most frequent chosen programs of study by Arcadia High School graduates: business, psychology, engineering and tech, business administration, natural science, nursing, and math. So those are the ones that they most frequently pick. Now here's where there's going to be a little bit of confusion, because some of our numbers don't match exactly with what was said. And I was actually talking with Crystal and her staff, Carl Rose and her staff before, trying to reconcile some of these numbers. And so what I'll say to you is, number one, I will be reaching out so that we can compare our data to determine that, because we don't show quite a high percentage of success in Arcadia High School students as was just quoted to you. What we do see, and I'll focus on, is that there are large numbers and that they have a very high completion rate. The completion rate here is talking about earning a degree. We also have numbers that show completion rates that include transfer, and if you look at those numbers, we show 33% in a 3-year period, and so those numbers don't totally agree with what was just presented. And I cannot answer at this point why they don't, but I can assure you that I will be looking into that to determine why the numbers I'm presenting right now aren't in total agreement with what was presented.
We're going to stick with the Arcadia District numbers.
I would encourage you to go with that, and so I will be able to report back in regard to what the differences are caused by at a later date. And so this is to answer some of the questions, to talk about some of the things that we either are in conversation with, but we would like to expand our conversations with. So this slide is both for you, the board of the Pasadena City College, and as well as the members of Arcadia Unified that are in the room. And so obviously we've talked about outreach. I think we do a pretty good job of outreach here. We always are looking to do more. We believe the promise will expand and grow, and part of the outreach will be sure that students at Arcadia High School are aware of that, as well as the other high schools that we serve in the district. So we believe those numbers will increase. And then it's talking about pathways. I showed you data on the fact that Arcadia High School students take advantage of our pathway program. And that number has increased every year, and they continue to take advantage of both the second and third year component of that. This is going to expand as we develop our guided pathways program, and I believe as that happens that we will also need to increase our dialogue with Arcadia Unified, because I see, getting back to the question that Trustee Wah had a little bit ago about sectors and things of that nature, I think the idea of our guided pathway program, as well as dual and concurrent enrollment, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, I see that there are ways that can be a win-win, both for PCC, for their students that come to us, and as well as your students while they're still in high school. Obviously, the dual and concurrent enrollment part, so I understand exactly what was stated by the Unified District in regard to that. Arcadia is an exceptional high school in what they offer. But I would also argue that there is an advantage to dual or concurrent enrollment because they don't have to take a test. They might do really well on that test, but they have to pay for it, and they have to score a certain height, and your students do a really good job. But if they take a dual or concurrent enrollment course from PCC on your campus, they get credit for the course without having to take a test. And our dual and concurrent enrollment program, the way it works is they pay no enrollment fees for that course. And so I think we need to further that dialogue and find ways that we can make it work for your students, because I think there are some advantages to doing that as opposed to going the AP route. And so obviously that's a conversation that we will continue to show them how that will work. I think the other one that we need to look at is articulation, and there you have great classes, and so part of what we need to be doing is having conversations between your faculty and our faculty to try to develop articulation agreements so that your students can take your classes and then they can articulate and they can get credit for our classes. And so there's again a win-win there, and if we develop both of those and increase both of those, I think what that will do is it will help your students even complete their higher education targets sooner, because they'll have finished quite a bit of it prior to graduating from the high school. And so I think those are parts of the conversation that we need to continue. The workforce development, part of that fits into dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment and articulation agreement in CTE. So it's developing those pathways that deal with the various sectors that Trustee Wah was asking about. The pathways that were mentioned earlier, none of those fit. Well, actually, the digital media, the graphic design one, and I'm sorry, graphic design, infotech, they do fit into those sectors. But I think part of the conversation is us sitting down, sharing the sectors, sharing the programs that we have at Pasadena City College to see if there's ways that we can do things through either articulation or dual and concurrent enrollment with Arcadia High School that could benefit their students. And so that obviously is part of the future conversations that we need to have to better serve the residents of Arcadia and the graduates of Arcadia High School. So if there are any questions.
Trustee Wah.
Well, these are more comments, but I just want to say that the data that was presented both by Arcadia Unified as well as by PCC, I think are some of the best data I have seen on the work and the progress that we're doing. I think what Arcadia shows is that they're really, their programs are working very well for their community, their students are successful, they're tracking that success. And then on our side, it shows that what we are offering, the educational resources that we are offering in our partner K-12 district are really meeting many of the needs of Arcadia. So I think it's really a great opportunity. It shows a great partnership. So I think that Trustee Fellow is very lucky to be representing this district. And but I think it also shows opportunity for us to continue some really good partnerships. As Board President Ng knows, that I also represent a very highly competitive unified school district. So in San Marino, we are having lots and lots of conversations about the AP versus dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment. And I also have encouraged my community, in fact, we're going to be doing several sessions with the parents on the differences of AP versus college enrollment, and then being able to accelerate students into their college trajectory so that they can, so that they actually get that college credit. And I think, you know, the demographics of Arcadia are very similar to the demographics of San Marino, and so with first generation parents coming here, the education systems are very, very different, and so it's a matter of kind of educating them so that they understand what those differences are. And you know, not every child has to go to an Ivy League school. It's not necessarily the path to success, and AP does not necessarily get them automatically into college. There's lots of different factors that will help them. So I empathize with you all, and I hope that we can all partner for the success of your students.
Thank you.
Trustee Hilsman.
So, Dr. Juni, as always, thank you for a wonderful presentation. And your presentation sort of raised a couple of questions for me, which I think Dr. Merrill might be able to answer a little bit better if you could step up. Dr. Merrill? One of the things that has concerned us at the college in the last few months is our approximately 1,100 undocumented students who are some of whom are probably enrolled in the DACA program. So I wondered whether the Unified District has any programs. If you could, first of all, give us an idea of how many in your high school may be in that category. And secondly, whether you have been able to work with students and families, because I know that there's a lot of fear and concern in the air.
Yes, I don't know the numbers because we work with all students, and we don't ask students to identify. But over the years, we've worked with students and schools and universities to facilitate that transition from high school to higher ed. So I don't know the numbers, and we don't have a policy except that we serve all students and we help all students access higher ed.
Okay. I mean, one of the things at the college that we've tried to do is provide resources on campus for counseling for students
Yes,
who
we
may
do.
need that.
Our counselors go to many workshops so that they can address these issues, and we work with a local community center that has resources for our students
Okay.
that are undocumented. So, and this particular organization is here in Monrovia and has talked to our counselors about.
And then I had another
supporting our
follow-up question, which is sort of self-serving, and my fellow trustees and the staff will understand that. Do any of your faculty or students take advantage of online educational resources? Because I know the cost of textbooks are so high. I wonder if you've had much adoption of online resources, which are low in cost.
We do work with some online providers. I'm not sure if you're talking about our students who choose to take a class outside of our curriculum because, for example, they want to take something that we don't offer, or are you referring to online providers as being an option for some of our students?
Actually, what I'm referring to is the cost of textbooks, which is about $500 or $600 a semester for our college students. And one great alternative for them is to use what would be online books, or online resources.
So-
And it's being adopted somewhat slowly, I suppose, by our faculty, but I wondered whether at the high school level you're seeing any of that.
Yes. So our school district is a Google school district. Every student has a Chromebook from kindergarten to 12th grade. And our middle and high school students take their Chromebook home. And many of our textbooks are already online. We just had a recent adoption for Spanish, geometry, algebra, and English language arts, and all of those materials are available online.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Dr. Juni. Yeah, the remainder of our agenda tonight is pretty much exclusively normal Board of Trustees business for PCC, so if our guests from the school district wish to leave, we will not be offended.
Smart.
Next on the agenda are consent items. That's agenda item D, consent item students. We have 4 items on the consent calendar in this category. Do any trustees want to have any of these items taken off the consent calendar and discussed individually?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor. Agenda item E, consent items instruction. We have 1 item under this category. Do any trustees want to have this item discussed separate?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor. Item F, consent items, business. We have 15 items on this part of the consent calendar. Do any trustees want to have any of these items discussed separate and apart from the rest? Trustee Martin.
Get a 30-second refresher on our Aleutian banner, a $4 million contract for a 5-year extension on that. Questions with that? We're obviously deeply engaged in it, but it's a lot of money and it's nice to get a short refresh.
Dr. Story?
In 2012, the board approved a 5-year contract for our Banner software program, and that contract expired in 2007. It's expiring in 2017. Part of the contract is a 5-year renewal for the maintenance portion of the contract, and it's based on the same terms as the original contract. So the total cost of that maintenance contract over a 5-year period is a little over $4 million. So it's being requested for approval tonight.
Had my button off. And when you say maintenance, it's a software, so it's software support, fixes, call-in support.
Software support, if there's any patches or upgrades to the software, it's included in that amount.
Okay, thank you.
Do I hear a motion for item F?
Motion
Consent
to
item.
approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent items F 1, 2 through 16 pass unanimously 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor. Consent items, personnel. We have 2 items under this category. Do any trustees want to have either of these discussed separately?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
I have one item of discussion before we approve it. I just wanted to thank Monica Molina for all her service to the college, and we're sorry to see that you're leaving, but we wish you Godspeed and great luck in the future with your work.
I second that motion.
We have a motion to approve G, consent items, personnel. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 7-0. Action items, recommendation for approval.
The first item, first one is recommend the board approve the memorandum of understanding between Pasadena Area Community College District and the California Association relating to salary, compensation, and benefits.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor.
Second one is the agreement between the Pasadena Area Community College District and the California Federation of Teachers, Local 6525, and on compensation and benefits.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor.
Third item is we're recommending that the board approves the memorandum of understanding between the district and the confidentials for salary and
Your motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor.
the next item is again another approval of a memorandum of understanding between the district and the members of the management association, and for salary and benefits.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor.
This item is again agreement to for salary and benefits between the district and all administrators who have a contract with the district. Names are listed below, starting with Dr. Bell, Dr. Juni, Dr. Olivo, Dr. Norman, Ms. Bobby Abraham, Mr. Alex Buckelhide, Ms. Crystal Colrose, Mr. Joe Simonetti, Ms. Hedva Weingart, and Mr. Matthew Kiaman. Salary and benefits.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor. Item number 6, approval of salary increase for superintendent president for fiscal year 2017-18.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just here, I would like to, and this goes for all of these motions, I wanted to thank Lisa Norman and her team for all the work that they've done in the negotiations. It's always a difficult task, and I want to congratulate her on her work. And also, my congratulations to all the executive team, including President Verdian for well-deserved kudos on the work.
Any other discussion or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor. Item number 7, we have an ad hoc committee consisting of myself, Vice President of the Board, Tony Fellow, and Clerk Jim Osterling. And we have changed some information and had some discussions on the process of retaining a search firm to assist us with the presidential search. At this point in the process, we have kind of a generic decision to make if we should go out with an RFP to a number of firms. That's a more formal process, or if we should have the HR department approach a selection of firms that are known to provide good services in this area. So I'd like to put that out as a question for the board at this point. How do the trustees feel with respect to the use of a more formal approach with an RFP, or for the HR department based on a selection of firms to go directly to them and ask for proposals, which would then be considered by the entire board?
Tony?
I feel like I do the more informal because you're going to get the same companies anyways. I can even tell you right now which companies.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I'd so move.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Trustee Brown?
Well, yeah, I was going to say exactly what was noted by the other two trustees. We at least, it's wasting money is not one of my thing. And if we know what's out there, why go around in circles? So I would definitely agree with using the HR.
Trustee Wah?
I think an informal approach is fine. I think what's more important is that the board decide what kinds of things that we want that search committee to do. I think the last time we did the search, there were a number of things, number of proposals, and there were differences and variations in what a search firm would do, how much they would do, but I think we should be clear on what we expect, the kinds of expertise that we expect.
Thank you. Any further discussion? So we have a motion that we
use a more informal approach with the HR department approaching firms that are well-known to provide these services and ask for proposals. Dr. Verdi?
President Selvage, before you proceed, I think maybe you have a list here of firms. Suggest that to go through that list and contact these firms.
Sure. I've been provided with just a day or two ago, I was provided with a list of 10 firms which the Long Beach City College people approached when they went through their recent selection for a new president after the Long Beach president became state chancellor. And I recognize 4 or 5 of the names here. I've also asked one other community college through a trustee whom I know, who they approached. I haven't heard back yet, but this list can be provided to the HR department, and they can make some further inquiries and then decide who they want to ask to make a formal presentation. And following the receipt of the formal presentation, we would schedule a meeting. Last time it was a special meeting, excuse me, in the evening, during which we interviewed for 4 firms and then made our selection. So if there's no further discussion, the proposal is, the motion is that we use the more informal approach. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'll accept trustee Brown's proxy in this case.
That's not legal. JD.
Don't get a restroom.
JD Hilton. Yeah, so that passes 6-0-1-1. 6 in favor, none opposed, 1 absent, I assume temporarily, and the student trustee voting in favor. Thank you. Dr. Verdian, at this point, the superintendent president's report, please.
Thank you, Dr. Selvage. I would like to start my report by saying that our entire campus is thinking of the victims of yesterday's terrible earthquake in Mexico City and the ongoing series of hurricanes that are roiling the Caribbean. To any member of our community that has been affected by these disasters, we stand behind you, wish you and your family safety and peace. And our students, I know, are working to help and provide some support to the victims. This is the 4th week of school. Campus is alive and kicking, and our total head count right now is about 70 short of 30,000, unduplicated head count in credit and non-credit classes. We are also at this point in time solidifying a selection of courses that will be offered throughout our fall semester, as we realize that many of our students may benefit from late start and shortened class schedules in the second part of the semester. We are currently enrolling in 14-week courses, and we will launch a group of 8-week courses on October 23rd. And our communications department, our strategic communications department, is working hard to promote those courses. In continuing with our work to create a safe campus community for all of our students, we have recently announced a college-wide protocol for all faculty and staff who may encounter a federal immigration official conducting work on our campus. Our police and college safety officers stand by to assist with these interactions and should be called as soon as a visit from federal law enforcement officials is discovered. We have distributed information on this protocol to all faculty and staff, and we have posted in every classroom those documents, those posters with the protocols, as a means of educating the college community on this important issue. Tomorrow night, we are pleased to host Assembly Member Christopher Holden and his team for a dialogue on the status of Latinos in higher education. As a majority of our student body identifies with this ethnic group, this is clearly an area in which we have an interest as a college. I look forward to a productive conversation and thank all who have made this event possible. The dialogue starts at 5:30 in Creveling Lounge tomorrow, September 21st. PCC was thrilled to attend the American Cancer Society San Gabriel Valley Hope Gala on Saturday, where Ms. Lena Kennedy was saluted for her work in this important area. Tomorrow, Dr. Bell, myself, and a group of trustees and PCC administrators and faculty will attend the 130th anniversary celebration of the first AME Church, where our college will be recognized for our support of young people and their families. And congratulations to all of us who are being honored, to our faculty, our staff, and our students. Next week, 4 of our trustees and myself will be attending the Association of Community College Trustees Convention in Las Vegas, and our very own student trustee, Ms. Emily, will also be there, and you will be participating in several events during those 4-day period. And finally, I'd like to thank 2 very important people in this organization. First, I want to thank Ms. Monica Molina, who will be leaving us. Tomorrow will be your last day, and you will be starting at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo on the 2nd of October. We thank you for the work you have done at Pasadena City College, and we wish you all the best as you continue your career for your institution. I would also like to thank Dr. Norman, who will be leaving us on the 16th. You start your new position on the 16th of October. You've been with us for 1 year and 3 months, and you have accomplished a yeoman's or your woman's job in that period. You have worked very, very hard for us, and we thank you for everything that you have done for the college. We will miss both of you, and again, good luck to both of you. This concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Now, announcements by shared governance representatives. We have a representative of Associated Students. Oh, there you are. Yes, to the microphone.
Hello and good evening, everyone. So for a report on our collaboration ICC retreat, which just happened this past week, it was very successful, and so now since things are finally settling in on campus, really excited to have many opportunities for students to get involved on campus. Currently, associate students are working with Academic Senate to gather student participants for their upcoming student panel, Why We Dropped Your Class. And so as a board, we feel it's a great idea on how to gain student perspective. And lastly, associate students were still in the process of amending our resolution that we passed last year, as well as brainstorming any immediate action that we can take to show support for our DACA students. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, classified.
Good evening. The Classified Senate met earlier today in light of the recent events surrounding the Trump administration and the threat to DACA. The Classified Senate has drafted a safe learning environment resolution to support all students here at Pasadena City College. It will go to vote at our next meeting on October 4th. In addition, our Vice President, Ms. Cheryl Storms, has been working diligently to inform all classified staff as to their current EEO status, as to whether or not they will need to be recertified and undergo training in October or February so that they can participate in our selection committees. The Senate's Professional Development Coordinator, Ms. Denise Albright, will be organizing an information session along with Leslie Terapelli to educate the classified community on the processes and procedures of utilizing funding for professional development activities. And finally, the Senate has decided to host 3 classified days this year as opposed to 1 in hopes to solicit more classified staff participation. Our goal is to incorporate all staff members, including our facilities members and those who work various schedules. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Management Association.
this is a great room.
Yes, great technology.
It is. Listen, I'd like to thank the board and superintendent president on behalf of the entire Management Association for the action that was taken tonight. This is a hard-working group, but they're very appreciative of what was a salary increase and such as was realized tonight. I'd also like to publicly call out and thank the members of my Management Association Board of Directors. These are people who work incredibly hard, much harder than I do at their jobs, not only within their capacity as managers, but also for the board. They are Tunisia Bailey, Leslie Terapelli, Todd Hampton, and Carlos Tito Altamirano. And we wouldn't be able to do the good work on the behalf of the managers without their hard work. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we'd like to hear from the Faculty Senate.
Good evening. I just have a few things to report. We just had our Senate retreat recently, and the senators in attendance thought it would be a wonderful idea to focus a bit more on students in our meetings, which I was delighted about. So what we're going to try to do this semester, we've been wanting to do this, but it's just been hard with all of the things that we need to get through. But for this year, we're going to make it a point to try and schedule some professional development opportunities and discussions at the Senate meetings. So our first, Kylie alluded to, which will be on October 9th, we're going to be planning a student panel of Why I Drop Your Class. This was primarily prompted by a discussion of the IEPI indicators that are requested by the Chancellor's Office on an annual basis. We want faculty to engage more in the goals that we set and see a role for themselves in improving things like completion rates and median time degrees and that sort of thing. So we prioritize the IEPI indicators, and completion rates happen to be at the top, which is timely considering the beginning of the semester and some drop rate issues that we've been having. So the student panel will give us some individual perspective on what students are experiencing in the classrooms, and we're going to be working with Crystal's office, the Institutional Effectiveness Office, to look at. You're stealing my show, Isel. Sit down. Thank you. We're going to be working with the Institutional Effectiveness Office to look at data as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. I do finally want to just show my appreciation to our ad hoc Safe Learning Environment Committee. Kathy Kataris, who's our treasurer, is the chair of that committee, and she worked very rapidly with Alex Buckelheid from marketing to produce the DACA instructions that were discussed earlier. And finally, as you know, Stephanie Fleming has a change of an assignment, and she will no longer be our secretary, so we're sad to see her go, but we'll be discussing her replacement at the Senate meeting on Monday, so fingers crossed that will go well, and we'll find a great replacement. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustees, announcements or comments? Student trustee.
Good evening, everyone. Friday, September 8th, I attended the Student Equity Conference, which gave me insight into the equity gaps many colleges face, as well as some of the programs colleges are initiating. As Dr. Verdian mentioned, next week I am attending the ACCT Leadership Congress Conference. I am looking forward to be gaining the knowledge and skills that is applicable to my position as student trustee, as well as presenting that knowledge to the Associated Students Board. Yesterday was Constitution Day at Pasadena City College, in which it gave the students the chance to interact with Associated students. And lastly, Associated Students is amending a resolution for providing a safe environment for students under distress, and that includes students under FERPA and DACA. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Brown.
Report.
Trustee Hilsman.
Yes, well, all of the trustees have a packet on their desk, which is coming from the PCC Foundation, and it essentially is urging each of our members to contribute whatever they can to the PCC Foundation. I'm not going to personally put the screws to you, but I'm sure somebody will. And just as a note, not only the Board of Trustees participates in this, but administration, faculty, we have a real widespread participation in our capital campaign, which is chaired by Dr. Jack Scott, and already the results are looking very, very positive, and it's exciting time, so you'll be hearing a lot more about that. And then along those lines, Joe, I believe you're going to be having a PCC Foundation-related event with Bob Davidson, am I correct? Yes. Could you just quick give us the details on that?
Well, he is going to be recognized by the college as one of our heroes. He is a great philanthropic figure in the community. He has a spectacular story to tell. Bobby, Nancy Davis, myself, and Bob met just the other day, and we had a long discussion, and just tried to frame a set of questions that he would feel comfortable addressing.
And what is the date and location of that?
It's at, I think it's October 12th.
26?
No, I think it's sooner than that. It's not 12.
Well, it's coming up, so keep your eye out. Alex will probably give us the heads up. Thank you.
It'll be a very, very interesting evening, I can tell you that much.
Trustee Fellow.
Yes. Linda Waugh and I attended the Economic Partnership Gala, and Linda, I think you'll agree with me that Dr. Verdian did a great job.
Great job.
Accepting the award, and his presentation and the film they showed was just wonderful. I haven't had a chance to congratulate Monica or Lisa, and so I wish you well. And Lisa, I don't know if the board knows, you're completing your Juris Doctor degree. You finished? And I have just been impressed with you. And I've told trustees, I've worked with a lot of human resources people. I think you're the best. And I think it is really a great loss for PCC. And I expected to work with you, for the years to come. But I have this feeling you're going places. And I look forward to that. But thank you.
Going places such as the bar exam room. That'll be fun. Trustee Osterling.
I just want to echo the comments made previously by the trustees about the loss of Monica and Dr. Norman. We'll miss you, but good luck and best wishes in your new endeavors. It was great to get out of our usual environment and come over here to one of our important school districts, Arcadia. I think we all know that Arcadia is well known as a great school district. Nonetheless, the presentation that was given tonight about the student success figures coming out of Arcadia High and information that was particularly noteworthy to me is how many of those students come to PCC and continue their student success here. Thank you.
Trustee Martin.
I have nothing to say that hasn't been said, and not quite the voice to say it.
Trustee Watt.
So I just want to say we're all in mourning over Monica and Lisa, but I agree. We expect, Lisa, maybe someday we'll see it back again. Who knows? So anyway, and I think Trustee Ostling, Trustee Brown, and I are all going to be attending the first AME dinner tomorrow that is honoring PCC. So Dr. Verdian has just done a great job keeping PCC highlighted. So I want to thank him for that. This last, since Friday, I've been at both the CCLC, the IEPI, Chancellor's Workforce, and the Board of Governors office. So I'm going to be sending out messages because I'm the contact for the league for 3 colleges, including Pasadena. So I'll just highlight a couple things. But some of the things that came out of BOG that I think will be of interest, that are of interest to the trustees. The Board of Governors approved an MOU with the Western Governors University, which will then be an online university, which will allow us to then take students in any state internationally through online and provide online services, which I think is going to be really great, online courses. The board also approved, the Board of Governors also approved establishing a college, another college in the community college system that is an online campus only. So the chancellor is moving very quickly towards digital offerings, which I think is good for our system. The information about the ACCJC, the two work groups are finishing up their work, and the general consensus is that they will move towards a single accreditor. So there's still lots of discussion to be had, and there'll be some time, but then there'll be some transition, but it is expected that we will move towards a single accreditor for both junior colleges, so community colleges, as well as the four-year colleges. So I think that will be good for us. I think it'll be a change, but something I think will be interesting. And many of you have already seen the Chancellor's announcements that they approved a DACA resolution, which is a much stronger wording, and so consequently, I think that is why we also are following up on that, which I'm really glad to see that we picked that up right away, and the College Promise. So it's expanding the Board of Governors has expanded the College Promise across the entire system. In addition, the Chancellor got his action plan approved for the strategic vision, and so I encourage you, I'll send you a link to the strategic plan and the vision. I think it's very interesting, and it really is promoting acceleration and really moving the needle for our students. The budget was also approved by the Board of Governors, and I will say that the Associated Students came up to speak, Alejandro, and I don't know his last name, from Long Beach. And they spoke very passionately about not just the struggles students have with tuition, but also the food and the housing insecurities. So kudos to our pantry for at least meeting some of that. And I sent all of the board members a flyer that I had sent out to my Rotary. As soon as I sent it out, my fellow Rotarians came in and they gave me money, and then one of them just donated 300 eggs to the pantry. So I think that, it's an opportunity for our communities to really come in and to help our students. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to echo the comments already made. Lisa and Monica, done a great work here, and we wish all the best. You're going different directions, down south and up north. Quite a move, but we wish you well. There are all kinds of things that and offerings here at PCC besides just what you do in the classroom. And I guess it was after your President's Forum, we had the club activities going on down in the quad. If you haven't come over here on the day that all the clubs set up their tables, you got to come over here on the day that the clubs all set up their tables down there in the quad. It's absolutely extraordinary, the range of different interests that our students have and the extent to which they've organized around those interests to try and promote them and just add to the whole climate of being a student here at PCC. That's the sort of thing that builds an affinity for the college, and it really makes the students feel more like this is a real part of their life. I was pretty active in a couple of the clubs when I was here, and I still know a few of those people all these years later. So I was really impressed with that. The next item, proposed future board business meeting dates. Bertine, are there any changes?
Yes, I was going to ask that we cancel the board meeting on October 4th. That will give, because you are going to have a retreat on the Saturday, 3 days later, on Saturday the 7th. We are working on finding a venue for the retreat for the 7 board members, and that retreat will be facilitated by Dr. Bryce Harris. We will keep you posted as to where that retreat will take place. So our recommendation is that we cancel the board meeting on October 4th. The retreat will be on the 7th. And at your convenience, if you would want for us to set up a special meeting for you to interview the candidates that we will have selected by then to send you for an interview, we would recommend that you have a special meeting, if you would like, on October 11th. or if you'd rather, we can also do it during the regular board meeting of October 18th, with the understanding that the meeting 18th could be a long meeting with the interviews and also a regular business meeting.
I think that, given my recollection of how the interviews and the selection went last time, we ought to have a meeting just for that activity, just for that.
Would you like for us to schedule one for October 11th?
So that's
That will be one, the Thursday, the Wednesday following the retreat.
yes. And then there would be a board meeting one
And there
week
will be a
after
board
that.
meeting
Sure.
the following October, and you could discuss your choice.
Yeah, as long as we think that that's allows enough time for the.
I do believe that, Dr. Norman, that should allow us enough time to have about 5-6 groups come on campus for the 11th, for the.
A certain amount of these proposals is boilerplate.
Right.
But the ones that are interested, okay, if we could notify them that that would be the date.
So I think that's a good idea. Would we start that, the meeting therefore would change from the 4th to the 11th?
Yes.
And what time would we start on the 11th?
Since there will be no closed session on that day, we could start the public session with the interviews of the groups that would come at 6 o'clock, if it is agreeable to everybody.
Yeah, because how much time will that take? We're going to.
Could we do 30 minutes per group?
That's what we did before.
We should be done by 8 o'clock.
So we'll start at 6 o'clock as usual, but it'll immediately go into open session.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question.
We should get the proposals a couple of days ahead of time.
Is there any, we need to prepare before they come in and make their presentations? I mean, do we need 30 minutes as a board to check in on who's going to ask what question, or are we basically, we're not going to ask any questions until they make their presentations?
We could do a 30-minute closed session where the board can go over the questions that they will ask, so that we have standard questions for everybody following their presentation.
I'm just asking, I don't know, do we need some organization time before we just are hit with them? That's all I'm asking.
May I suggest that we would start at the usual time of 6 o'clock? We would have a half-an-hour session to get organized and prepare questions, and then start the interview process at approximately 6:30. That'll start at the normal time. That'll push our end time back a bit.
We really can't look at those questions in closed session.
No,
It'll have to be in open session. You could have the 30 minutes, you just prepare yourself as to the process or whatever, but I think everything has to be in open session.
Trustee Brown.
So I have a question or maybe a comment. If I recollect, maybe are these groups going to send in a package for us to review ahead of time? And, hold on, and then I think what John is alluding to, maybe we could pretty much establish what kind of questions we want to ask. Is that what we're saying? And then when we meet, we already have an idea of who they are ahead of time, know what they're offering, and we can send in questions to our president, and we can decide who is going to ask what. So all of them have the same. I'm remembering something like that one day.
I would support asking for for them to submit some information ahead of time so that we can review that, and then we can come up with some questions. There might be some questions that we will have.
I thought we received the formal proposal with their scope of work and who was going to actually do the work from the firm and their price and all that. I thought we got that ahead of time.
Right,
last
but that
time,
was
yeah.
when we did an RFP. We're not doing an RFP now. We're waiting for.
I just see the RFP as the difference between these more formal or the less formal is just how we get word to selected firms that we want a proposal. You know, if they make the proposal, we need to look at it ahead of time, so, you know, we're familiar with what they're talking about.
So I think we're in agreement, we'd like to see something ahead of
Oh,
time.
absolutely, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And that, did I hear a Brown Act objection or a problem here?
I think what Dr. Verdian is saying is we can't look at questions ahead of time, but we could send questions into Dr. Verdian as.
You can send them to that.
Right, and then they'll kind of categorize them, and then we'll have 30 minutes to kind of prepare before the interview so that we decide who's going to ask which questions, and there'll always be opportunity, I assume, for us to ask additional questions.
Well, that's what I was going to raise. The other point is you said 25 minutes with 5 minutes of questions. I would flip that. I really think,
Yeah.
15 minutes once we've had a package, 15 minutes of a presentation at most, and then give us a chance to talk afterwards.
Right, yeah, I think we should be able to ask some pretty substantial questions, sure.
Yeah. Keep it short, and then we get to.
And I may be overreacting in the, excuse my voice again, the organization time, in that we're really not, they're making a presentation. The goal in the end is pretty clear. But it just seemed like to walk in and get, so maybe 15 minutes is all we need or something, but it just seems like we need a little time to assimilate what we're doing and.
Well, that would be useful for, HR to give us some background on, what they have noticed in the different approaches and packages, the proposals that are being presented, sure.
Now, that would probably be really helpful.
So please clarify, what is exactly we're going to be doing?
At the meeting, we will first, we're going to have HR contact a selection of firms. They will submit written proposals. Written proposals, several days before the meeting, will be sent to each of the trustees to review. When we convene the meeting, we will have a briefing by the HR department of anything they particularly noticed about the submittals, and if we notice things that are common or things that are missing, we want to make sure we ask everybody. We can settle on that, and then we go 15 minutes presentation, 15 minutes question for perhaps 4 firms, 3 firms, 5 firms, whatever HR thinks is appropriate.
Thank you.
Based on the interest and the quality of the proposal.
And it's a 6:30 start?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock start.
6:30 is the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and staying on this subject, since we now know when we're going to meet, I think we should establish the deadline when HR would be receiving these, so you have time to receive and disseminate. So how far in advance would you want to receive these proposals, knowing that they're going to be presented on the 11th, correct?
What I would do from here is I need to just calendar out a timeline so that I can kind of work backwards from
Yeah.
the 11th. So hopefully at least maybe a week or so in advance in case there's something that goes wrong in the submission so that I can make sure I provide it to the board at least 48 hours in advance so you have review. So
Okay.
somewhere along those lines that would
Okay,
be good.
somewhere around a week ahead to you and then 48 hours ahead to us. But that sounds about right.
And for clarification, is the student trustee also included in this process? Last time we did, and normally they don't, Emily wouldn't come at 6, but is she included in this process?
Yes.
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 Then you'll
Right.
come earlier.
Well, that's, Russ, we're on the same wavelength. 'Cause generally what happens is we get a package for the board meetings, and we often have questions which we send through the president, the superintendent president, so that we don't take up a lot of time. I wonder if we have specific questions on these proposals that we'll be getting, on the packages. I wonder whether 48 hours is going to give us enough time, if it's permissible, to ask you the questions and get a couple of answers back, because that saves meeting time.
I think that's certainly allowable. You can do that, and we can make sure that they have that information in advance so that as you start asking questions answered or as they're presenting their presentation, they can hopefully answer some of those questions.
I see.
Yes, that's what.
I see. Okay.
From the time one a firm is notified, they receive a phone call from us saying, would you like to submit a proposal? What's a reasonable amount of time for them to have something delivered to us as their proposal, do you think? From the time, if you notify the firm, you call them up and say, you're talking to a principal, we'd like you to know if you want to submit a proposal. What do you think is a reasonable time for them to be required to have that in our hands?
Well, my intent would be to start contacting them tomorrow. I'll give them a deadline so that they're aware of if they're interested in submitting a proposal, they need to give it to us by that date, which is what I'm anticipating, at least a week prior to the board meeting.
Okay, and it's 3 weeks from today, correct? The 11th is
3 weeks from today.
Okay, they'll probably think it's tight, but they'll do it.
Well, and following up on Hoyt's question, how about if we do the normal procedure where we receive those packages on, not 48 hours ahead, but on the Friday?
72.
And then we submit our questions, because you're going to be submitting them to these firms. So I think we need a longer period than 48 hours for us to ask questions, funnel them through, get them out, and yeah. Let's do the usual Friday. Is that okay?
That's fine, Matt.
Okay.
So we will work the timeline tomorrow. We'll work out the timeline tomorrow. We'll get them to you
I
that
am a
Friday.
little confused. I really am. So we're submitting questions to be sent to the firm, or questions that we're going to be prepared to ask them after their presentation?
What our understanding is that when you receive the packages on that Friday prior to the board meeting on the 11th, as you're reviewing the applications or packages or whatever we want to call them for each firm, should you have very specific questions that you would want to ask, you will send the questions to us. We will forward all those questions from all the trustees to those various firms that have questions, so that they can be prepared when they come to give us those answers on that. But in addition to that, you will be asking other questions too.
Okay.
That's it, that one understanding.
That's my understanding, yeah.
That's my understanding.
I think everybody has an understanding. Is there a formal motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0 with the student trustee voting in favor. Thank you. Proposed future agenda items? Any suggestions for future agenda items? Any trustees?
We do have on the 18th of October a new item that there will be presentation by Crystal Colrose on data. That is on the agenda, will be on the agenda for the 18th. For now, that's what we have. I mean, if there are additional, we will.
Okay, no further proposed future agenda items. Meeting is adjourned.